Ralph Sampson wasn't just a basketball player. He was a phenomenon carved out of pure potential. Standing at 7'4", he moved with the grace of a guard and the dominance of a true interior force. Before the NBA ever saw him, he ruled college basketball like a living legend at Virginia. Three-time National Player of the Year, a feat almost impossible to repeat today. People didn't predict his greatness, they expected it. And the moment he stepped into the NBA, the sport felt the tremor. When he entered the league in 1983, the basketball world held its breath. Sampson won Rookie of the Year with numbers that proved he was built for superstardom, over 20 points and 10 rebounds a night. He could score inside, run the floor, block shots, and dribble like a forward long before unicorn big men existed. His mix of mobility and height made him unlike anything the league had seen. Houston knew instantly they had drafted more than a star. They had drafted a once-in-a-generation weapon. Then came the moment that shifted the NBA landscape forever, the arrival of Hakeem Olajuwon. Suddenly, Houston had two giants who moved like guards and defended like monsters. Together they became the Twin Towers, a nickname that echoed through arenas with fear and excitement. Their chemistry was instant, their dominance undeniable. Teams didn't just prepare to play Houston, they prepared to survive them. The league had never seen a front line so skilled, so tall, and so coordinated. Their partnership wasn't just about size, it was about harmony. Sampson's smooth, face-up game blended effortlessly with Hakeem's footwork, power, and inside brilliance. They weren't selfish, they weren't competing, they were elevating each other. On fast breaks, one ran while the other trailed like a shadow waiting to strike. On defense, they swallowed the paint whole, turning every layup attempt into a prayer. In those years, Houston wasn't a team, it was a nightmare matchup. The Twin Towers carried Houston all the way to the NBA Finals in 1986, proving their potential wasn't myth but reality. Sampson's game winner against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals became an instant piece of basketball folklore. It was the shot that silenced Showtime and announced the true arrival of Houston's Giants. Fans believed they were witnessing the beginning of a dynasty. But Sampson wasn't just defined by stats or highlights. He was defined by his rare blend of style and spirit. He played with elegance, confidence, and a quiet determination that made him unforgettable. Even his friendship with Hakeem became a symbol of trust between two stars sharing one mission. They pushed each other, learned from each other, and built something that still echoes through NBA history. For a moment, Ralph Sampson stood at the top of the basketball world, and the story of how it all changed begins right after this. Ralph Sampson's rise to stardom wasn't just fast, it was explosive. His early years in Houston were filled with highlight plays that felt unreal for someone of his size. Fans expected dominance every night, and most nights he delivered. But with greatness came pressure, and with pressure came criticism. Some analysts claimed he relied too much on finesse instead of power. Yet Sampson stayed true to the unique style that made him special. As the Rockets grew stronger, so did the spotlight on Sampson. Every game was a test, every performance a headline waiting to happen. The media began comparing him to past giants like Kareem and Wilt. Some labeled him the future face of the NBA, raising expectations higher than ever. But heavy expectations can breed controversy, and for Sampson, the storm was already forming. One of his earliest controversies came from physical play and scuffles on the court. Sampson wasn't a dirty player, but he was fiery and emotional when challenged. His height made him a target, and rivals tested him with shoves and hard fouls. In heated battles, temper sometimes snapped. The incident in the 1986 Finals, where he clashed with the Boston Celtics, became one of the most talked about moments of his career. That confrontation with Jerry Sichting escalated into a full-court brawl. Boston fans booed, commentators criticized, and Sampson was painted as the villain. The media ran with it for weeks, portraying him as overly aggressive. But his teammates defended him, saying he simply refused to be intimidated. The truth was simple. Sampson fought back because he had to. In the ruthless 80s NBA, strength wasn't an option, it was survival. Yet behind the controversy, Sampson remained a deeply respected athlete. He trained harder than most stars, pushing himself through pain and pressure. Coaches admired his discipline and intelligence. Even rivals admitted he was incredibly skilled for his size. Players who truly knew him spoke of a gentle personality off the court. Ralph Sampson was fierce in battle, but humble in life. As the years rolled on, injuries began creeping into his story. His knees, carrying a body built for dominance, started to betray him. The explosive speed that once amazed fans slowly faded. Critics who once praised him now questioned his durability. His minutes dropped, his role changed, and frustration quietly grew. Sampson wasn't falling off, his body was simply giving even out. Despite the setbacks, he continued to fight through the pain. He refused to quit, moving from Houston to Golden State. Fans demanded greatness, and critics dissected every misstep. Some controversies were exaggerated, magnified by media narratives hungry for drama. Yet Sampson rarely lashed out or complained. He stayed professional, even when the world was heavy on his shoulders. Over time, the story of Ralph Sampson became one of what ifs and what could have beens. What if his knees never failed him? What if the Twin Towers had stayed together longer? What if he reached the prime everyone envisioned? These questions still echo in NBA debates today. But even with unanswered questions, his impact remains undeniable. Sampson's relationship with Hakeem Olajuwon remains strong even after their paths split. They share respect deeper than rivalry or competition. The years they spent dominating together created a bond few duos ever match. Hakeem later said Sampson made him better, taught him, pushed him. Their partnership shaped both their careers. The Twin Towers weren't just tall, they were iconic. Though the injuries overshadowed his later seasons, Sampson's legacy never disappeared. His college career remains one of the greatest in history. His early NBA years were revolutionary, decades ahead of modern big man play. Before Kevin Durant, before Giannis, before unicorns, there was Ralph Sampson, a 7'4" athlete who moved like no one before him. He inspired an entire generation of tall players to dream different. The tragedies of injury became a tough chapter in his story. Watching your own body limit your greatness is a pain few people understand. Sampson faced it quietly, carrying dignity through disappointment. But his perseverance inspired fans who followed him beyond his prime. He showed that greatness isn't just about success, it's about how you respond to failure. And Ralph responded with heart. Even after retiring, Sampson never left the game he loved. He became a mentor, a coach, a teacher of young athletes. His knowledge of footwork, timing, and discipline remained priceless. Today, Ralph Sampson is remembered as more than just a player. He's remembered as an icon of potential, a pioneer of skill, and a symbol of resilience. His highlights still circulate, shocking new fans who can't believe a 7'4" man could move like that. His story still inspires conversations about greatness and fragility in sports. Ralph Sampson didn't just play basketball, he expanded what was possible. His rivalries, especially with the great centers of his era, elevated basketball. They created battles people still talk about. Every matchup with a star big man became a spectacle, and each rivalry helped him sharpen his own game. Sampson was built for greatness, challenged by greatness, and respected by greatness. That's a legacy many athletes never achieve. And so, as we close this chapter on Ralph Sampson's incredible journey, remember the truth behind the legend. He was more than a player. He was a pioneer, a mentor, and a symbol of what talent and heart can create. His story teaches us about ambition, adversity, and the courage to keep going. Ralph Sampson gave the sport everything he had, and his legacy lives on through every player he inspired. If you enjoyed this deep dive into his life and career, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful stories from the world of sports.